Hey everybody, so I've been out leaf hunting, collecting some leaves, and I want to go over some of these common forestry leaves in Georgia so you can be able to identify some of them yourself. So take some notes or make a sketch or just listen, and let's see if you'll be able to identify these. So the first leaf that I want you to look at has a very, very distinct shape. This is a really cool leaf, isn't it? So if you look at the top of the leaf here, do you see how this sort of goes down to a little Y? Not all of them are very pronounced. Like that one is not as pronounced. That one kind of looks like a mermaid tail. But at any rate, this one has a very big Y. Okay? So look at the shape of this leaf. Do you have any idea what this is? The reason I'm pointing out the Y to you is because this is a yellow poplar, okay? Some people call it a tulip tree. This leaf does kind of look like a tulip, and it has big, beautiful flowers. Look, one starting right there. It's going to be a flower, or it would have been a flower if I hadn't picked it. So anyway, this is a really great shade tree. Because you can see how big the leaves are, so it makes really good shade. It's also allelopathic resistant, so you can start planting some in amongst other trees, and it should do fine. So this is a good one. Think about in the future, we're going to do a landscape design and try to be environmentally friendly, which includes making some shade. And so think about a yellow poplar, yellow. That's why I pointed out the Y to give you a hint. So think about the yellow poplar for possibly a shade tree. All right, so next let's go to the hickory. Hickory isn't really just one of my personal favorites, but they're also good shade trees. I don't like the fact they have nuts that they drop. But look at these leaves. So this is a compound leaf, all right? Meaning that these things that you see here, that one got bit. These things that you see here are actually leaflets, all right? The leaflets are attached to one big, what you would think of as a petiole, but actually in a compound leaf, we call it a rachis. Now, Look at the bottom of this rachis. Do you see the node there? You see a node there? So first of all, are these straight across from each other? They're not. They're alternating. One on the right, one on the left. So these are alternate. And you can see the little node at the base. That's how it tells you the leaf is beginning. Okay, so this whole thing is a leaf, a compound leaf that has leaflets. If you notice at the base of these leaflets, there's not a node. That's how you know that these are leaflets, not leaves, and they are attached to a rachis, and this whole thing is a leaf, okay? And if you look really carefully here, even though they're close, you can see that these are alternating. Usually whatever the leaves are doing, this whole leaf is alternating with this whole leaf. Usually that's what the leaflets are going to be doing too. So also look at the edges. So you know you've got a compound leaf for the hickory. Look at the edges, the margin. You should remember that from chapter 2. Look at the margin of this leaf, the edge. So look how jagged it is. That is called serrated. So if you think about a jagged serrated knife, that's kind of what this edge looks like. So that's a serrated margin right there. Interesting. Look at these veins too. So it's not quite as pronounced down here, but look how these veins are alternating as well. So pretty much everything on this tree is alternating. All right, and it's starting to have a little tiny hickory nut, which will get big and fall off. All right, putting that one to the side. Now these two, sometimes people get them confused. Let me get a good... The leaves are so good right now. Hold on, I'm going to pull a leaf off. Here's one. The leaves are so good right now because the trees are just full of leaves, but the problem is they're kind of soft. So they're kind of floppy. All right, so a lot of people confuse these two leaves sometimes. But when you look at them side by side, you can see a big difference. So these are actually, the shape of these we call palmate. These are palmate leaves, like your palm. So this one right here, you might recognize this one from the Canadian flag. This is a maple. Now, we're not going to get into every single species of maple. There's lots of species of maple. You can look them up. We're just kind of staying in the genus right now. We're not going into species and cultivar and variety. But this is a maple. So you can look at each leaf has a little extra shape to the leaf. This over here, like a star, okay? You can see that the maple is not really like a star. It's palmate, but it's not really like a star. This one, like a star, is called a sweet gum. And this makes those little balls that you step on that are real sharp and all over and that hurt your feet, the little sweet gum balls. I have no use for a sweet gum. I hate a sweet gum. This, to me, is a trash tree. Now, I'm not saying there's not a use for it. You can look up uses for it if you want. But every time we try to get rid of sweet gums, it's like 100 more come to take its place. They're like roaches. I just do not like the sweet gum trees. Do not like the sweet gum balls that hurt my feet. And they don't burn well. And they're pretty much just, to me, a trashy weed tree. But anyway, so if you see something like that, you can know that's not one of my favorite trees, but you might want to look up some uses for it. Now, the magnolia, didn't mean to say magnolia, the maple leaf, I don't recommend you do this with all leaves, but usually if you kind of do this and smell it, it's going to smell like maple syrup. This one doesn't have the smell yet, but probably in the fall it will. So the reason I say don't do that with all leaves brings me to this one right here. Look at these big, beautiful leaves. Okay, so these big, beautiful leaves right here almost has that palmate shape, almost, but they're a lot wider. All right, just for curiosity's sake, just want to kind of look there, and then look here. Okay, I was just looking at the vein pattern. But this big, beautiful leaf, if you see on the back, do you see how it's got some little fuzz around these veins? So that fuzz is like micro, and it will get more and more fuzzy through the year. That fuzz is like microscopic fish hooks. So you do not want to put your nose up to this leaf and smell it and get these little invisible tiny fish hooks in your more fuzz. You don't want to get those tiny little invisible fish hooks in your lungs. So this is a sycamore. So if you remember about the fuzz on the back, a sycamore can make you sick. So that's a good sort of a little clue about the sycamore. Nice, big, be a good shade tree too. They're very pretty. So let's look at this one. All right, this is a very common one. Y'all probably have some of these outside in your yard or your neighbor's yard. So first of all, look at the margin. The margin on this is very smooth. Okay, so this leaf would be called an entire margin, okay? Or with the sharp little tip, you could call it ciliate. So you're going to look at your worksheet and be able to tell what you believe it is. So I would call that an entire margin, but if you call it ciliate, you're fine with that too, ciliate shape. Look at those cool veins, how they go up. They're not straight side to side. They reach up towards the tip. That's really neat, and it's a good giveaway for this tree, which is the dogwood. So later on, this will start having those little berries that'll make the flowers. We don't see those yet to give it away. So, but this is a dogwood. Dogwoods are actually really good shade trees. They grow under other trees in the forest. So these are really beautiful in a forest to add some color. All right. This one right here is one that grows really well around water. Doesn't have to be around water. This is a cypress, and there's lots of different types of cypress. But these have these very delicate little leaves. Now, again, look at the leaflets. These little leaflets are on one big leaf, and you can see the nodes at the base of the leaf. Let's see. There we go. Maybe you can see the nodes at the base of the leaf. But this is a cypress. I like them because they're very delicate looking. These are the ones that'll make those knees that grow out of the ground. So you really don't want to And those are like water seeking. You don't want to plant this somewhere that you're going to be cutting grass. All right, let's look at some oaks. So there's lots and lots of different kinds of oaks. First, let's look at these two. All right, so we've got a beautiful oak leaf right here, lobed, and look at its pretty lobes, how smooth and round they are. Do you see how rounded those lobes are? Okay, so this would be in the category of a white oak. Anything that has nice rounded lobes is a white oak. And there's different types of white oak, but anything that's rounded like that is a white oak. Now look at this one. So see, these are not rounded. These are sharp. Ouch. Ouch. So that didn't really hurt, but just think about like they're sharp and pointed so they could make you bleed red. That's a good little tip for remembering. So the ones that are, and there's different red oaks. This looks close to a turkey foot oak, or turkey oak, but I don't think it is. Anyway, so anything that's sharp like that, the oaks that are sharp are red oaks. So we've got white oaks and red oaks. Now this is a water oak, and oaks are such a wide variety. So I want you to look at these leaves. This is a pretty typical water oak leaf right here. I'm going to turn it this way. It looks like a water drop. So when you see a water drop, you can think a water oak. Okay, pretty typical water oak leaf right here, like a water drop. So water drop means water oak. Now, the oaks can hybridize, meaning they can breed together, and you could end up with something like this that looks like a cross between a water oak and a red oak, and get all different sort of shapes of leaves. And if you get that, I mean, you could even get different shapes of leaves on the same tree. So just know that oaks can be a big variety. Now this right here, this would be a pin oak, and it looks similar to a live oak, but in this area, it's going to be a pin oak. And just, that looks long, like something you could write with, sign your name with. So pin, P-I-N. Last one we're going to look at is elm. So this is an elm leaf right here. So I want you to look at the edges. What do you call that margin? What do you call that there? What do you call that edge? Serrated edge. Let's look at the arrangement. Now, first of all, are these compounds or are these single leaves? Kind of sometimes hard to tell with early growth. Here we go. Let's look down here. All right. So you see the node at the base of each petiole. So these are single leaves. They alternate, and they have that little serrated edge. Now, here's a different oak that's really neat. You see the same serrated edge on the leaves, but look at the bark. Look at the wings on the bark. This is called a winged elm. So those two are elms. These wings are a dead giveaway on the winged elm. But those little serrated leaves that alternate, you can see a node at the base of each one. So winged elm. All right, so let's have a little bit of a quiz. I'm going to stop this video. I want you to review your notes and put your notes away and try this quiz that's going to be on the next video. Let's see how you do.